Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about what's your response ability. I had the great pleasure starting my day off this morning at 6:30 talking to one of my favorite coaches. I'm working with their team today, and we were going over the plan for our session and also talking about how things have been going since they've been back to campus getting ready to start the 2023 season in February. And her energy was palpable. It was great. What a great way to kick off the week. We talked about the things that are going well, and we talked about the energy that her team has. And incidentally, in all of this, we were talking about two kids who got to campus and didn't pass their fitness test. Now, coach requires one, we did too. The whole idea obviously is that if we have a fitness test when we get back, we hope that that inspires our athletes to stick to all the hard work that they put in that we built over the fall by doing their lifting, their conditioning, and their skill work. Because as we know, when we get back, we've got about 20 practices to meet that level and exceed it so that we can get to our first contest in that first weekend of February for softball coaches. All spring sport athlete coaches know that we do all this work and then we send them home at the poorly timed break for 6 weeks, and they could come back in a completely different state than we left them. So these two athletes didn't pass the test. And here's where the story really begins. The way that these kids responded to their temporary failure, I'm certain that they'll pass it. Hopefully they did this morning. I haven't heard yet. But their responses changed the way that the team is functioning over this first couple weeks of practice. They're chasing after balls that get overthrown. They're going and grabbing extra buckets of balls to make practice go more efficiently. They're cheering on their teammates. They're noticing what's going on outside of them and say, oh my gosh, she needs someone to warm her up. Let me go do it. They're jumping in to pinch run when they need a base runner. They are engaged, they are positive, and they're bringing energy. Awesome. Remember, they failed. They failed. And now I'm talking with the head coach about how happy she is with their responses. Of course, she's slightly disappointed, we could say, that the fact that they're not fully engaged in practice. But, or should I say, and she's very, very happy with what character and responsibility and accountability they're showing and the way that they're interacting with the team. What a great way to move from something that didn't turn out how we wanted it to something that's really working for everybody. Now flip to the other side of that, and we've all been here as coaches as well, and I know my kids, if any of them are listening, are thinking, oh gosh, what about the people who failed and didn't have that attitude? We can take the victim role, we can stand on the sidelines like this and just not be engaged. We can talk about how stupid it is that we have to do this to play softball. We only run 60 feet. How many times have I heard that in my life, right? Or whatever sport you're coaching, it doesn't make any difference. Or whatever standards you have set, whether you're in the boardroom, in the classroom, doesn't make any difference. Oh, that's on the syllabus, that's dumb because we didn't do it and prepare, right? That's our response. We can have that response. And then what does that lead to? So let's look at the benefits of the response of these athletes. They are getting praise. They are building relationships. They are setting the tone for what it looks like when we fail. Guess what? We're going to fail. We're going to fail a lot. In fact, that's a lot of the way that we learn. We are setting the energy for what it looks like to be a good teammate, even when things aren't going perfectly for us. They are setting themselves up to get this done faster than if they had that flip side of the coin attitude. This reminds me of what we used to do when I was coaching, and our kids would boot a ball, and then they'd chase after it as fast as we could, and now I'm going, good effort, good effort. I am praising them. They just made an error. Maybe it's going to cost us a run in the end, but their response elicited a certain response from me. They influenced how I was going to behave because I responded to them in a way that was congratulatory, like, way to do your job. You screwed up, and man, did you handle it well. We saw this last week, right? We have an approach, we have an action, we have a result, and we have a response. Our approach is whatever it is. And then we go and we do. And then we get a result from that. And then we respond to that result. And they are responding to their result. Their approach, hopefully they'll change it next time. Wasn't the best. They had an action. The result was that they failed. They made an error. They didn't pass the test. What really, really ultimately matters is how they respond. Because how they respond is going to change how everybody sees them, how everybody treats them, how everybody trusts them, how everybody talks to them, how everyone encourages them or not, how everybody is pulling for them. Think about the power in your response. The biggest power that we have is our ability to choose one thought over the other. At any time, we can choose a response that is going to enable us or move us forward, propel us forward, or one that is going to hinder us and everyone around us. And on a team, in a workspace, our responses are critical to the success of our organization. Go back to that other response. Who wants them to succeed? How likely is their response to help their approach? Their response is, this is stupid. How hard am I going to work in my approach when I get to take that action? I'll probably fail again. That's going to be my next result. And then I'm going to respond this way again, and I'll be lucky to get it done. And when I do get it done, now I've got to rebuild my trust. People are questioning my commitment and my competitiveness even because of my response. So the message today is this, is that we don't always get to choose what happens to us. We always get to respond what happens to us, what happens because of us, right? This happened because of them. They didn't prepare, or they made an error, they lost their focus, whatever it was. Nobody else was making them decide what was going to happen in that situation, or in our environment. This is what happens to us, because of us, or around us. But we can always choose how we respond to those things. And that is where our true power lies. Because my response, and trust me, I need as much work on this as the next guy. My response dictates what's going to happen next. It dictates what other people are going to say to me. It dictates the energy that is in the room. It dictates my next approach. So our job is to get our athletes, the people that we lead, to understand the power of their response and train their mind to choose that thought that helps them move to that right response over the one that doesn't. Is it easy? No. Is it doable? Yes. It's about being aware and then making a choice. So this week, I challenge you to manage and evaluate your responses and see how it works for you. I'd love to know. Until next week, have a great week. If I can work with your team on getting them to understand their responses and the power that they have, reach out to me, juliej@ssbperformance.com. Until next week, have a great week.